And Rich Trapper tapping in, TNN Trap News Network. You feel me?
Rich Trapper.
The homie wanted you to whitelist this shit too.
Who?
Rich Trapper.
Rich Trapper?
He be reacting to your shit.
What's the deal, y'all? What's the deal, y'all? What's the deal, y'all? Rich Trapper's having an TNN Trap News Network. We back in action with another reaction video. Back in this thing, like cracking this thing. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Become a part of this Rich Trapper Mafia. Hit that notification bell at the top. Hit all so you don't miss none of this good content we got going on over here at TNN Trap News Network. Find me on all streaming platforms. Rich Trapper Game 6. Rich Trapper Worth More Than Money. Rich Trapper I'm Better Off Without You. Start from scratch. Nightmare Before Christmas. That's out now, as well as my newest project, I'm Still Better Off Without You. Mention me. Shout out to that single. That's out now. G Perico, Rucci, King Harris, all in the mix, showing love on that video, man. We in that thing, like cracking that thing. You trying to get you $100, that's $50, 2 different ways. Drop a comment, because the best comment of the month of April, we're receiving $50 cash app, as well as the top commenter between now and 8,000 subscribers. When we get to 8,000 subscribers, we gonna give y'all $50, man. Top comment though, you gotta be the top comment. However, if we get to 8,000 subscribers between now and April the 14th, that's 14 days from now. So today is April the 1st. No April Fools. Don't worry about it. I'm going to give away this chili for real. I'm going to give y'all $100. We just gave away $100 because y'all helped me get 2,000 subscribers in the month of March. We did 2,000 subscribers. You feel me? It is some cheeks on that lady. Sheesh. Cheeks. Anyway, we finna jump into this content without no further do's or don'ts. Shout out to Gunners Collective, man. A lot of y'all don't like Gunners Collective. I really am not 100% sure why. I get that he has his political woo-wops and whoopty maps. We here at TNN Trap News Network don't affiliate ourselves with any criminal organization, crime syndicate, or political organization, blah, 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 gangs, guns, publicly. I like Gunners Collective, so I'm gonna do a reaction. Shout out to Gunners Collective. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe.
Rich Trapper
well, it's Collective Clips now.
TNN Trap News Network.
Excuse me.
You feel me?
Rich Trapper.
I like Gunners. We finna get into this, so he's finna talk about what really happens with Bloods, Mexican Bloods and Crips within the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
And I felt that for no other reason I should answer it promptly. And the question I was asked was, what happens with Mexican Crips and Bloods in the California prison system? Where do they go? Are there really Mexican Crips and Bloods that choose to go that route while incarcerated in the California prison system? Now, we know the California prison system is very divided amongst racial lines, right? Not racist lines, but racial lines. And let me clarify that, brother, right? Because when people hear racial, they automatically...
No, that's real. Now, do you know anything about the California Department of Corrections, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, or the LA County Jail System? You know that everything, and I mean everything, is dictated by your race, your whatever. You feel me? If you black or go with the blacks, you're gonna go this way. If you Mexican or go with the Mexicans, you're gonna go that way. You will be divided by your racial whatever, blah blah blah. The homie is annoying right now, bro. Won't stop. I'm doing something, bro. You gotta figure it out.
Automatically think racist. And there's a big difference. There's people that don't like you for your skin pigmentation, the way you carry yourself.
Hold on, man. Hold on, y'all, bro. Golly. Like, if you call me and I don't answer the first time, don't keep calling, bro. Like, let's get into it, though.
When people hear racial, they automatically think racist. And there's a big difference. There's people that don't like you for your skin pigmentation, the way you carry yourself, what they think about you. They judge the book by its cover before they even really get to know who the individual is. Those are racist people. People don't like you just because you're something that they are not, okay? And then they want to go a certain route with that, and they want to just act a fool, and then all of a sudden they're on their pockets and they're going, why, right? Why not is the question. That's the true question that you have to answer. But racial lines just means your own kind, your own people, your own ethnicity, your own culture. Okay, so it's not like people hate you because they ain't you. People just stick with their own because it's safer that way, and that's just the fucking way it is. I'm sorry. That's just how it's gonna be. That's how it has been, and that's what's probably gonna happen in the future. Now, I'm an advocate for everybody getting along, and let's cross that threshold of that racial line, and let's all be cool. But I'm also of the understanding that in some cases, them politics in prison, that racial division does ease tension, not cause tension. Because, hey, as long as you're chilling with your own people and doing your guys' own thing, there's going to be less issues. There's going to be less people stepping on each other's toes, less drama. And albeit, man, that's Bloods, it's a real tricky situation. What race you were, what ethnic, and everybody thought, you know, oh man, wow, you know what I'm saying? I want to start cripping or I want to start blooding. I can tell you story after story of so many Mexicans in my neighborhood or around the area that all of a sudden had a blue Pendleton on the next day and thought they were fucking Rocket, or had a red jersey on and thought they were High Top and they were running through an alley. I can tell you so many stories like that, but at the end of the day, that was just a fad. That was just something that happened throughout the state of California, maybe in other states as well, but I can't speak on that. And then all of a sudden people started to realize, whoa, hold up. What do you mean I gotta hang around with black guys? The guys that weren't doing that didn't understand, hey, if you're going to be a Crip or a Blood, those are predominant black gangs, and you're going to have to go hang out with them and kick it with them and do your thing with them. And then there was a lot of guys that said, no, but what happens when I go to prison? I got to kick it with my own peoples. Well, that's the catch-22 right there. See, that's what you have to figure out on your own. Now, of course, myself, if I was a Crip or I was a Blood, I would be also, I'd be a Crip or a Blood. And there would be nothing that could change that. There wouldn't be.
Now, again, I've never been in a penitentiary, but I have been to LA County Jail more times than I'm proud of. Way more times than I'm proud of. I'm not proud of being a bad criminal. Keep in mind, only the bad criminals go to jail. I've never been in like some super crazy melee or nothing like that. Like, I've had like little mini riots and tussles with other races and all that kind of stuff. Nothing that I'm sure would ever compare to a prison yard. I'm not even trying to act like it's the same because I know it's not. But what I will say is, I noticed that when we would get into it with the other races, the member, like if it was a white Crip, they like went straight for him if we was getting into it with the whites. If it was like a Mexican Crip, they go straight for him. It's like getting into a white or Blood or whatever. If it was any member of another race that ran with the blacks and we got into it with the race that he belonged to, despite the fact that he was Blood, Crip, Hoover, Paru, whatever, if he ran with the black, they went straight for that person, like every single time, and he had to do a little bit more. So, you know what I'm saying? That's a very interesting kerfuffle to be caught up in. Very, very, very entanglement-ish for sure. It's a racial it's a gang and racial entanglement. A racially gang. Words are hard. Don't worry about it. It's some shit. It's some shit.
Nothing that could sway me from that style, because that's would be my environment. That'd be my geographical situation. That would pretty much be how I grew up, and so I wouldn't know nothing else. So a lot of these Crips and Bloods that are of Mexican descent, that's all they know because that's the area they grew up in. And ain't nothing wrong with that. You know, I've had plenty of Norteño homeboys that were black or Woods, brother, white, right?
That's another thing too. I done been sitting in the dorm and a black Southsider walk in and they walk up to him, where you from? Hey, fool, I'm from da-da-da-da. Wait, what did you say? Yeah, fool, you heard me, doggy? And he always got the craziest name: Crow, Darky, Shadow, Midnight. It's always something that lets us know that you're negro. Something that lets us know that you're black. Duh, nigga. What? So it gets interesting. It gets interesting. Sometimes your race doesn't dictate your gang. Sometimes it's just based upon you grew up over there with them. So that's who you are. That's who you are.
Coffee? No, we drink coffee too, eh? All right, cool. Well, fuck it then. I could be a Norteño, right? And that's just how that was. But them guys grew up amongst us. They grew up in that culture. We're talking about the type of white man and the type of black man that are eating tacos over everything. Okay, and we didn't see the color lines. We didn't see the pigmentation of the skin. There was no difference. You know, I told a story a long time ago where I was at a party, a house party, and I had a homeboy, and he was black, right? He was a black homie. We didn't see him that way. Once you became a Norteño, you ceased to exist as a colored. You were only existing for the cause and as a soldado for the movement. And I remember this chick came running up and she was like, "Hey, there's black dudes," but she said the N-word, right? "They're in the party." And the homie, he's black, and he was like, Where them motherfuckers at? Let's get them," right? Again, I tell that story, and I say that to say this. He didn't see.
That's a deep level of self-hatred, though. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy, because she just disrespected you by calling them with the ER. She disrespected you because you are the same thing. That's an interesting conundrum. I wonder what the psychology behind that is. The psychology behind that must be absolutely incredible.
He seen color like from the opposite side. Do you mean it was weird, right? But I was just like, oh, okay, all right, well, do your thing, brother, right? Better you than me. But I got you because you're a homie. look, at the end of the day, it's going to be like that. It's not that they got the game twisted or they're trying to be something they're not. They're just being what they know. Now, as far as Mexican Crips and Bloods, there are Mexican Crips and Bloods incarcerated in the California system. That's an absolute fact. Very few and far between. There's not a lot, but there are. Okay, I've known gangs that comprise all Mexicans, all Asians, all whites that consider themselves Crips or Bloods. Now, traditionally, we know that the Crip movement was started in the Los Angeles area, and it was mostly predominantly black. It was a community, not a gang, but a group that started, you know, for the same thing every other gang starts from, to protect their own from, of course, oppression, and they were being racially profiled, and there was a lot of racist things happening in them times, and they came together to protect their neighborhoods, to protect themselves, and to get social status of equality. And then, of course, the Sangres, being the Bloods, they sprang up as well around the same time or a little bit after. And they were in opposition of some of the Crips and what they had going on. Now, there was a lot going on with the black and brown movements. Even prior to that, there was...
Gunner, big dog, I love your videos, but you are off topic. This is the first time I've ever watched your video with the intent of reacting, and I get what people mean when they say I be getting off topic. Because, nigga, you are off topic like a motherfucker. You supposed to be talking about what it's like for Mexican Crips. I feel you though, because I be rambling sometimes. So I'm gonna let you do your thing, big dog. I'm gonna stay in my place as a viewer. You feel me? And if you don't like him rambling, you can just turn the video off. If you don't like me talking on top of his rambling and my rambling on top of his rambling, pause, no Diddy, no Whack 100 Uncle. You can just watch the original video too. So there's that. But shout out to Gunners Collective, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Gunner's a cool dude. It's a crazy face to pause it on, but no Diddy, no Whack Uncle.
A lot during the civil rights movement. There was a lot of black and brown together, a lot of the Chicanos fighting for them rights, and a lot of the blacks fighting for them rights. And believe it or not, they fought side by side. In a lot of instances, they marched together for the betterment of their people. Somewhere along the lines got crossed, and they went their own separate ways. And that's where a lot of the drama and a lot of the things started. You see, a lot of the gangs brought tension. They brought tension because it was neighborhood versus neighborhood, barrio versus barrio, turf versus turf, you know, and the element of people that were involved, I wouldn't necessarily say that they were the smartest individuals, but they were individuals that all they cared about was their own. So lines were drawn in the sand.
That's typically what a gang is.
People were divided, and it's unfortunate it had to be that way, but that's the honest to God truth. Prior and pre-gangs, and let me tell you something, groups and gangs and bodies have been around forever, hundreds of years, but it wasn't as flamboyant and as mainstream as it is now. We didn't hear about it back then. If you were from a particular neighborhood and you joined a social in about that, remember when, or go with the blacks. That's what happened. Crips and Bloods in the California prison system, what happens to them if they're Mexican? Well, I'm gonna tell you, they go with the blacks.
Damn, bro, it took you 9 minutes to finally get to what the hell? Okay, I get what y'all be saying. Y'all be irritated with me now. I get it. I don't care. I don't care enough to change. But I get it. I understand. I don't care enough to change. Understanding and caring are two totally different things. I understand totally what you're saying, but I also understand why he's doing it the way he's doing it. But sheesh. But I still don't care enough to change it. Because his logic, if you knew what I knew, I know enough to know a lot, but not enough. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I see what you're doing, Gunner. Good chili. Good chili. Good chili. But damn, bro, 9 minutes? Sheesh.
That's what happens with them. And they're not going to be touched on. They're not going to be ridiculed. They're not going to be slandered. They're not going to be disrespected because they fuck with their people. See, they choose the gang and what they know over their ethnicity and their culture. Now, some people don't like that. Okay? That's like a white man going into the prison system as a Crip or as a Blood. He has to be Teflon Don. He has to be extra hardcore. Brother, he has to drink more coffee than anyone else. Because at the end of the day, the Woods are going to trip. Oh, yes, indeedy. I write graffiti. They're going to trip all over that white man. You know, but it always boggled my mind if a white guy goes into prison as a Norteño or a Southsider. Well, the Woods are like, brother, we're not going to trip on the essays, right? And I think that's just more so the black and white issue. Okay, let's just be cut and dry. No added preservatives here. Let's be real. Because that's hypocritical to trip if a white wants to join a black gang or be a part of a black movement, you're all on his motherfucking headpiece. You're breathing down the back of his neck like a motherfucking dragon in the Game of Thrones, right? You're tripping, but you're not tripping off a white being from a Mexican gang. That's just racial right there. That's just what the cut and dry. That's what that is.
Hey, because that happens all the time. It's hella white boys from Southsider gangs. Hella white boys from Southsider gangs. And the white people never say nothing to them. The Woods never say nothing to them. Let white Crip come in there. Let Milk walk in. They're gonna be all on my son's head. Stay out of jail, son. We need you on the streets. Daddy loves you, Milk. Daddy loves you. For those of y'all who don't know, Milk is my son. And he was raised in foster care because I was a bad parent, and you know, I'm trying to make up for lost time. But either way it go, you know what I'm saying? That's don't worry about it.
And I understand, man. And it's not that they fucking just hate it. It's to hate the fact that, you know, they lost a soldier. They lost one of their own. They feel like this guy is blatantly disrespecting them by turning his back on the people of like-mindedness, of the same skin.
Yeah, like that's crazy. Like they'll call them a race traitor and all kind of stuff. They'll be like, you're a race traitor. How could you hate your own? How could you this? How could you that? Blah, blah, blah this, blah, blah, blah that. Like the whites will like really go deep into this whole, like, he hates his own people type stuff. But it's like, he don't hate his own people, bro. He just grew up over there with them. Like, that's just really what it is. He just grew up over there with them. How you gonna be mad at somebody for where they mama pay rent?
You know, they're gente. Now, when it comes...
Dang, that's crazy. All gangbanging is being mad at the nigga down the street for where his mama pay rent. Wild.
To the Mexicans, it's a little bit of a different story. If there's a Mexican Crip or blood, that's on him, eh? If that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. Now, where it gets tricky is if something goes on in a racial capacity where it's Mexicans versus blacks, Norteños versus blacks. And when I say blacks, man, you gotta understand the blacks are comprised of Muslims, Kumis, non-affiliates, Crips, Bloods. So usually when it pops off, it's personal, okay? It's within groups. When you think black don't, and they say, oh, the blacks are gonna riot against the Mexicans, it's not all. There's some that it's not their business. If it's Crips that are involved with Southsiders, then most of the time it's gonna be Crips and Southsiders that get off. Or Crips and Northerners or whatever. Every group is divided. They do their own thing. Now, the only time it becomes something of a racial capacity where it's black and brown, totally, the whole cars are going at it, is when it becomes that. When there's disrespect towards the skin tone or the ethnicity or the culture, then the brothers will come together. But for the most part, the Bloods will be like, on power! That's Crip business, man. We ain't involved in that. Now, of course, a brother's not going to see another brother getting jumped by a whole bunch of Mexicans or whites. He's going to be obligated to back his people in his play. And I'm going to tell you guys a story about a Mexican Crip right now and how his people failed him miserably. But trip out on this. So where it gets tricky is if the Mexican Crip or Blood goes into the California prison system and wants to basically put his culture in the background and claim Crips or Bloods, that's fine. He chose his gang, he chose his people. So now you're with them people. Them people, like I'm being racist, right? You're with them. Go be.
Dang, Gunner, what's up, bro? I was just like, no, I'm just playing. But yeah, you for sure, you with them people, for sure.
With them. There's not a problem. They're not going to have an issue. Now, if they flip-flop, if they were trying to be a Southsider or a Norteño back in the days and their filth is recognized and now they're switching up for safety purposes, oh yeah, they're going to be taxed, touched, and hurt pretty efficiently, right? And it's going to set off some shit in motion because the brothers ain't going to go out like that. They're going to back his play, and then that's where it becomes an issue. But look, if there's, say, a North on Crip thing and there's a Mexican Crip, okay, first and foremost, he's going to back the blacks up 100%. He's going to get off with the Cripas because that's his thing, okay? And best believe he's going to be the very first fucking target. And the reason he's going to be targeted is because there's always going to be that tension there. Hey, this Volta fucking is faking the funk. This Volta should have been one of us. And that's just the bias, man. He's not faking the funk. He really is what he is. That's all he knows. I've known a couple homeboys.
If you are a Mexican, you grew up in an all-Crip neighborhood, being a Crip is really literally all you know. That's not faking the funk. That's literally being a product of your environment. And what else can you be besides a product of your environment if you choose to go that route in the streets?
Man, and when I say homeboys, I'm just saying Mexicanos that were good friends of mine that were Crips. There's one, his name's Tal Rivera, Bullet from Merced Gangster Crip, who's actually on death row, you know, for killing a police officer in the city of Merced. It's a very well-known case. That's real Crippin' right there. That's Crippin' on top of Crippin'. That guy's in the motherfucking pool giving playing chicken fights with Crip. He's real shit. He's the real life, the real deal. That's what he's known. That's what he was known for. and he wasn't hated on. He was well respected because he'll fucking pop your top quick. Okay, but if something pops off, this guy got to understand, man, that, you know, he has to go against his own culture, his own race, and that can get real tricky, and that can get real dangerous because people are automatically going to target him. That's just like, you know, the Woods getting into it with the blacks, and there's a white Crip or a white blood. He's going to be the first one they're trying to take off on because they're still going to have that little bit of hate, you know, in them. Like, oh, this dude wants to go again. He wants to touch another white man? Oh, hell no, brother. Right? They're going to trip. You know, you're going to...
Now, I can see that, too, because typically within the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, only the blacks are typically allowed to just kind of get their words over their... get their whoopties over their words, excuse me. Everybody else got to put words over whoopties. I know that in the LA County Jail, the Mexicans get into it for the most part. If y'all fight each other, we gonna whoop the shit out of both of y'all. I've never seen the whites really fight each other like that either. Now, if you get a discipline, that's something different. But I'm talking about you from there, so now we finna take a fade. They don't get down like that. You feel me? So I can see how if a Mexican Crip or a white Crip or blood or whatever, you know, whatever, were to get into it with the rest, it could be looked at as a problem because typically they don't put their hands on each other. So, interesting. Very interesting concept. Very interesting concept. That's quite a way to think about it.
Oh, get them! Right, and the whites are going to go crazy. It's just what it is. And the blacks are not going to bow down. But I'm going to tell you guys about a situation about a Mexican Crip, man, that came up short on all accounts. So this guy gets to the yard, and you could tell by the way he carried himself what it was. He was sagging a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say the blacks have that look, but the blacks have that look, right? And he had his shit corn rolled up, and he was moving smooth. And he was a cool dude, cool as fuck. I remember, man, he was from a Northern California city. I forget exactly where he was from. But he was crippin' to the highest level of crippin', right? And he was from a well-known hood. And he had a couple homeboys on that yard. And they knew him from the streets. So it wasn't like he was faking the funk. He wasn't perpetrating. He wasn't a wannabe. He wasn't a wankster. He wasn't a Ja Rule to a 50 Cent, right? He was a real one. And so we got in there. And, of course, a lot of the homeboys from his town that were there, he was from Stockton, right? They actually knew him. They knew him from the fucking county jails. They knew him from being in Tracy. They knew who this guy was. This was real crippin' right here. So they were like, hey, what's up, bro? There was a lot of interaction. Remember, the North Angels functioned on the same side of the yard as him. Okay, so what had happened was, he gets there, he's kicking it with the Crips, whatever, everything's good. Well, one thing about him was, he had primos that were Southerners. They were Southsiders from Stockton. Okay, so he felt like, I guess...
Can you imagine what that Thanksgiving dinner is like? Wild.
Compelled to be cool with the Southsiders or try to talk to him in the school area or during work time or whatever he was doing. He felt like, you know, there was a kinship there because all his family were Southerners, even though he...
Not how that works. Not how that works.
Was a Crip. He went that route.
It's actually just the opposite, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He's going to explain it.
Okay, so he had a lot of interaction with them and started to do some undercover business with them, which he should have never done because, again, the Southerners, the Southsiders, and the blacks don't do too much business unless it's behind the scenes. That could get you caught up very quick within that movement, right? But he was doing his thing, and no one's going to tell him what to do. Again, it was none of our business. We were from the outside looking in, seeing it, like, whatever. If he wants to deal with them vatos, let him deal with them vatos. We already know how they get down, man. If you try to play them out of pocket, they're going to fucking kill everything on this yard. It's just how the Southsiders roll. And, of course, he disrespected someone by not paying him on time. And that's one of the biggest things that you can't do in prison is not pay someone on time. If you say, hey, I got you first draw, you better have them on half a first draw. If you say, hey, I got you with a jar of Folgers, brother, it better fucking not be Keefy, right? It better be what they want. Be a man of your word. Be true to
attention to detail is very specific when doing time.
your word. That's all you have. Or you won't have no words at all. Or breath. They'll take your wind. So he got into some type of argument, man. And this was a kind of a bigger dude, stocky, a little flamboyant with his business. And he pushed a Southerner. He put his hands on another Mexican. But you got to understand, he was not considered Mexican anymore. He was considered black. He was considered a Crip. And that's the way you roll. That's how you're going to roll. And you don't push another man in prison. You don't do none of that. You don't, better, right? You just don't do it. That's disrespect to the highest level. And he chose to do that. And so now it was on, man. The Southsiders fucking rushed right there. Okay, which is what they should do. They were disrespect. They got off where they were mad at. and a few of the Crips came to back his play, and that was that. Well, when they went to the back to the hole, the Crips got in his earlobes and found out what he did, and it was his fault for being involved in doing business on that level with them guys.
First of all, doing too much business. Second of all, not informing the rest of your car that you're doing that type of business, because you're putting everybody in a situation based upon your own selfish interactions, i.e. going to the ideal of no one man is bigger than the program, and this is why you let people around you know what's going on, because you let them know what's going on. They might could help you, number one, avoid said wreck, or number two, prepare for said wreck, because a wreck is going to come if you don't pay somebody what you own within the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. That all being said, what's done in the dark come to light no matter what situation is, big dog. Life lesson. Apply that wherever that fits in your life. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Actually, yeah, worry about it. Apply that where necessary. And if you ain't did so today, go drink some water, bro. Go drink some water. Your breath stink. You're ashy. You're dusty. You overall don't have your shit together. Go get some water. Go get some water.
So the Crips backed up off of him. So now what you had is this guy going back to the yard, okay? All point bulletin. Now there's tension between the Crips and there's tension between the Southerners. Oh, them the wrong brothers to fuck with, right? And now you have this guy who's on Gilligan's Island.
That was nice. That was cool as fuck.
Himself. Now the
Oh shit.
I don't know what to do with that $100 bill.
And you just gave them something to do with that shit.
So now it's like, all right, they work the rest of this week and next week and the next week. They all just gonna come over here because it tastes good. Because they see me, they're like, no, Negrito, no. Dead ass, I know. They're looking at me like, he said he make tacos. They're laughing it up over there.
Nah, nigga, them
I just
tacos
need
fire
them
as
to eat a
fuck.
chicken taco. I miscounted. There was 5 of them. I saw 4 the whole time, so I made 4. But they'll be okay.
Bingo, they'll
That
figure it
one
out.
nigga's gonna be like, man.
Hey, you just gave that's a free promotion.
And here you go, just in case.
Oh yeah.
It's not like I'm hot boy over here.
This nigga's wild. Anyway, hey, my nigga out here making plays for the business. I like my guy did that. Okay, my nigga.
prison is not paid someone on time. If you say, hey, I got you first draw, you better have them on. Prison is not paid someone on time. If you say, hey, I got you first draw, you better have them on with them guys. So the Crips backed up off of him. So now what you had is this guy going back to the yard, okay? All point bulletin. Now there's tension between the Crips and there's tension between the Southerners. Oh, them the wrong brothers to fuck with, right? And now you have this guy who's on Gilligan's Island by himself. Now the Crips ain't backing him up. Now he's Mexican. No, get your Mexican ass over there, right? And so what does he do? He comes out and he tries to plea bargain with the Southsiders.
Yeah, because you did something without nobody knowing, stupid, and the Mexicans told him what was gonna happen. The Crips said okay, and then you got your dumb ass chopped up.
It wasn't a situation of how the Crips react and let people get down. Because they back their play, they back their people's play. It wasn't a situation of how the Crips react and let people get down. Because they back their play, they back their people's play no matter what race and what ethnicity you are. They don't play that shit. Crippin' is crippin'. But that was a situation where he fucked up. And he found out, truly, that, hey, you can't be what you think you want to be, right? You got to be what you should be. And the Mexicans got off on him, and that was that for him. I tell you that to say this. When Mexican Crips or Bloods get locked up in the California system, they have a hard road. Okay, anytime you're from a different ethnicity and you're joining a different gang that's predominantly one, you're gonna have a hard road. You know, people ask me as well, what about the Asian Crips and the Asian Bloods? Let me tell you about the Asian Crips and the Asian Bloods. I got a lot of respect, a lot of love for the Asians. But most of them, 99% of the Asians, as soon as they get locked up at that threshold, at that gate, they let the Crippin' and the Blooding go. Okay, they draw that racial line. And they go with the others. They go with their own people. They fight for their own. Okay, they draw that racial line, and they're gonna rock Asian. Don't matter if it's Cambodian, Laos, Vietnamese. That's just how they're gonna go with their heads and with their people. Same thing with the Usos. There's a lot of Usos. Now there are some that will go Crips and Blood and they kick it with the blacks, but the majority of them are gonna be about their people. They're gonna be with the islands, right? And that's it. Polynesian power. Okay, now if you're white and you're a Crip or Bloods, you better go with the Crips and Bloods because the Woods ain't gonna accept. No, bro. No, bro. How many jars of coffee did you say? 5?
They're gonna call you a race trader.
They ain't gonna let it go 5 nor 6 or 7. If you fucking go in there
cripping and blooding on the streets, and now you want to change to be a wood,
and you were found out to be cripping and blooding on the streets, and now you want to change to be a wood, don't let the skins find that out, because they're gonna trip, especially if you have tattoos or indicators that you were doing that. They're gonna feel some type of way. They're gonna feel like you're dicked up. They can't eat after you and whatever. They're gonna do their thing. Now with the Norteños, I'm not gonna lie. I've had homeboys that during the Colors era were cripping and blooding, or thought they was. And then they quickly realized that wasn't for them, and then they got into the fold, they became homeboys. I'm sure the Southerners have some of the same things going on, where Vatos used to be Cripas back in the days, or Bloods, and then they chose up. They're like, later on they got involved in a barrio and became, Southern Mexicans. That's just how it is, the raza. But, as far as what happens with Mexican Crips and Bloods in the California prison system, they hold their own. I've been on plenty of yards with Vatos that were Mexican Crips or Bloods. Very respectful. We function on the same side of the yard. Hey, I already knew what time it was. They're going to get out just like any other man. Ain't no difference. A pigmentation of skin doesn't change the way a motherfucker rocks. It's the mentality of a person.
It don't matter your race, color,
I've
creed,
seen
sexual presentation, orientation, spiritual, whatever. It don't matter. None of that. It's in you. It's in you. If you got that dog in you, you got that dog in you. If you don't. You could be a big dog or a small cat. Don't worry about it. You could be a scrub out here. Scrub. Don't be no scrub.
Most clumsiest suckerfish dudes on the yard. It's all about your mentality and how you carry yourself. You will gain
most clumsiest suckerfish dudes on the yard.
if you earn it.
It's all about your mentality and how you carry yourself. You will gain respect on that yard if you earn it. If you're respectful to other people, they have no choice but to be respectful to you. If someone trips on you because you want to be a Crip or Blood and you're Mexican, well then let's get to tripping. That's it. That's just how that goes. Anyways, with that being said, I hope I answered that question.
Make sure you like,
on what happens to Mexican
Crips and Bloods. Trap News Network's music use, but you can't get a college, big dog. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more to get content on demand. Hit that subscribe button, become part of the Trapper Mafia. Hit that notification bell at the top. Hit all. Stay tapped in for the latest and the greatest of what we have going on here at TNN Trap News Network. Some news you can use, some knowledge you can't get a college, big dog. We up out of here to the next one. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Wooty Bam, Trap News Network, TRAPNEWS, NETWORX. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on all streaming platforms. Rich Trapper Game 6, worth more than money. Start from scratch. Nightmare Before Christmas. All the Wooty Bams of the Woo. Go find me on all streaming platforms. Red dot, slide it to the left. Figure out how you can get you some of this good Chiliana we giving away here at TNN Trap News Network. Some news you can use, some knowledge you can't get in college, big dog. It's free Avenue Angel until he's free. We go.